If you're a man over 50 and you've been telling yourself that the tiredness, the soft middle, the short fuse, and the foggy mornings are just getting older, I want you to stay with me because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you that a lot of what we blame on age is actually your hormones quietly drifting out of balance. And the eighth sign I'm going to share with you is the one most men completely miss, even though it's often the loudest signal of all. So make sure you stick around for that one. I'm not a doctor, and this isn't medical advice. I'm a men's health educator, and I've spent years reading the research and talking with men in their 50s and 60s who felt like strangers in their own bodies. What I've learned is that your hormones, testosterone, but also cortisol, insulin, thyroid, and others, work like an orchestra. When one instrument falls out of tune, the whole song changes. And after 50, that's exactly when the tuning tends to slip. So let's go through the 8 warning signs, what each one may mean, and what you can start doing about it. Sign number 1 is fatigue that sleep doesn't fix. I'm not talking about being tired after a long day. I'm talking about waking up after 7 or 8 hours and still feeling like you're dragging a sandbag behind you. Here's the mechanism. Testosterone and healthy thyroid function both play a role in how your cells produce energy. When testosterone gradually declines, and in men it can fall slowly year after 40, your mitochondria, the little power plants inside your cells, simply don't fire the same way. So if you've cut out caffeine, you're sleeping enough, and you're still exhausted, that flat, bone-deep tiredness may be a hormonal signal, not a character flaw. It's not that you're lazy, it's that the engine isn't getting the right fuel mix. Sign number 2 is losing muscle even though you haven't changed a thing. Maybe you've always carried a bit of strength in your arms and shoulders, and lately your shirts fit looser up top but tighter around the belly. Testosterone is one of the main signals that tells your body to build and hold onto muscle. As it drops, men can start losing muscle mass, sometimes a noticeable amount per decade after 50 hours. And that lost muscle often gets replaced by fat. I knew a man, a former carpenter, strong as an ox his whole life, who told me he couldn't open jars anymore at 58. He thought he was just out of practice. His grip strength was actually one of the clearest windows into what his hormones were doing. Muscle isn't just about looking good, it's metabolic armor. Sign number 3 is belly fat that won't budge no matter how clean you eat. This one frustrates men more than almost anything. You cut the bread, you walk every day, and that ring around the middle just sits there. Here's the link. Lower testosterone is associated with higher belly fat, and belly fat itself produces an enzyme that converts testosterone into estrogen. So it becomes a loop. Low testosterone leads to more fat, and more fat lowers testosterone further. That visceral fat, the deep fat around your organs, is also tied to insulin resistance, which is its own hormonal problem. Breaking that cycle usually isn't about eating less and less. It's about sending your body the right signals to step off the loop. Sign number 4 is mood changes, irritability, a shorter fuse, or a flatness you can't quite name. A lot of men in their 50s tell me, I just don't feel like myself. Little things set me off, or I feel numb to things I used to enjoy. Testosterone and balanced cortisol both influence mood, motivation, and that sense of drive. When cortisol, your stress hormone, stays chronically high and testosterone drifts low, you can end up irritable and exhausted at the same time. This isn't weakness, and it isn't all in your head. It's chemistry, and it's worth paying attention to because the men who ignore it often end up withdrawing from the people they love most. Sign number 5 is brain fog and a memory that isn't as sharp. You walk into a room and forget why. Names slip. You read the same paragraph 3 times. Hormones are deeply involved in cognition. Testosterone receptors exist right in the brain, in regions tied to memory and focus. When your hormonal environment is off, that mental crispness can fade. Now, before you panic, this kind of fog is often very different from anything serious. And for many men, it tracks closely with their energy and sleep. But it's a real sign, and it deserves a real look rather than a shrug and a that's just my age. And this is the perfect moment to pause, because if you're recognizing yourself in 2 or 3 of these already, you're probably wondering what you can actually do about it. And if you want faster, longer-lasting results, I've put the exact natural support I recommend in the link below this video. It's the approach I'd hand to my own brother. Go check it out after we finish. But stay with me, because the next 3 signs are the ones men dismiss the most. Sign number 6 is poor sleep. Specifically, trouble staying asleep and waking at 3 in the morning wired and restless. There's a two-way street here. Hormones affect sleep, and sleep affects hormones. The majority of your testosterone is actually produced during deep sleep, so when your sleep fragments, your testosterone production takes a hit, which then makes your sleep worse. Cortisol is supposed to be low at night and rise in the morning to wake you up. When that rhythm flips, high at night, flat in the morning, you get that exhausting pattern of lying awake at 3 a.m. and then feeling drugged at 7. If your sleep has quietly fallen apart over the last few years, your hormones may be both a cause and a casualty. Sign number 7 is a drop in drive and confidence, and I mean that in the full sense. Yes, it can mean a quieter libido, which is a normal thing to notice and nothing to be ashamed of, but it's bigger than that. It's the loss of that forward-leaning spark, the urge to start the project, chase the goal, walk into the room like you own your place in it. Testosterone is strongly tied to that sense of vitality and assertiveness. When men lose it, they often describe feeling like they've faded into the background of their own life. If the fire feels lower than it used to, that's not just mindset. That may be a measurable, addressable hormonal shift. And sign number 8, the one I promised, the one most men completely miss, is poor recovery. I don't just mean sore muscles after exercise. I mean how long it takes you to bounce back from everything. A late night wrecks you for 2 days. A small cold lingers for weeks. A minor injury that used to heal in days now drags on. A stressful afternoon leaves you flattened all evening. Recovery is the quiet master signal because it reflects your whole hormonal system working together. Testosterone for tissue repair, growth hormone released during deep sleep, balanced cortisol to manage inflammation. When recovery slows across the board, it's often the earliest and most honest sign that your hormones need support. And yet almost nobody connects the dots because each individual delay seems small. Start noticing how long it takes you to feel like yourself again. That number tells you more than almost any single symptom. So those are the 8. Fatigue sleep won't fix, muscle loss, stubborn belly fat, mood changes, brain fog, broken sleep, lost drive, and slow recovery. Now, here's what I want you to actually do with this, because awareness without action just becomes worry. First, get real information. If several of these resonate, it's reasonable to talk with a qualified professional and consider having your levels checked. Knowing your numbers turns guesswork into a plan. Second, protect your sleep like it's your job, because so much hormonal repair happens in those deep hours. Consistent bedtime, a dark, cool room, and easing off screens and alcohol late at night can support healthier rhythms. Third, lift something heavy a few times a week. Resistance training is one of the most well-supported natural ways to signal your body to maintain muscle and support healthy testosterone. You don't need a fancy gym. Body weight squats, push-ups, and a couple of resistance bands can start the conversation with your muscles again. Fourth, get your protein and prioritize whole foods, healthy fats, and enough of the key micronutrients like zinc, magnesium, and vitamin D, which are all linked to healthy hormone function. And fifth, manage stress on purpose, because chronic high cortisol works directly against everything else you're trying to do. Even 10 minutes of walking outside, slow breathing, or simply putting the phone down can help bring that stress hormone back toward where it belongs. None of this is about chasing the man you were at 25. It's about becoming the strongest, sharpest, most alive version of the man you are right now. And I've watched men in their 60s get there. The body after 50 is not broken. It's responsive. It's just been waiting for the right signals. And if you want a head start, this is where I'll point you one more time. The exact natural support I trust and recommend is in the link below this video, so go take a look. It's the simplest next step you can take today. If even one of these 8 signs hit home, do me a favor, don't file it under just getting old. Pay attention, take one small action this week, and treat your vitality like it matters, because it does, and so do you. Take care of yourself, stay strong, and I'll see you in the next one. And remember, everything I've shared today is general education to help you ask better questions. It's not medical advice, so for anything specific to your health, please talk with a qualified professional who knows you.